Coming up today on Speedway Line Report Radio, presented to you by Shaler Acura, Manchester, Connecticut. Joining Ricky Rotundo and myself, our first guest of the evening, Kevin Rice. We'll talk about the SBM 125. We'll also talk to him about his trip to Bowman Gray Stadium this past weekend. We'll talk to SK Light Modified driver Nick Salva. He'll be right here in our Waterbury studio. And later on in the show, Les Hinkley Sr. will bring us up to date on his grandson, Alan Hinkley, who's been going through a lot of medical issues over the past couple of months. And there are many fundraisers coming up. We'll tell you all about them. And what is it like to be a first-time winner in an SK Modified at Waterford Speed Bowl? We'll talk to the latest winner, Craig Lutz. And the YouTube guy, Robert Baggett, is here. And we'll take your phone calls, 203-757-1320. Today is Monday, June 2nd, 2014. And Speedway Line Report Radio is coming your way right now.
And start your engine.
Of course, Ricky likes to read. Ricky likes to read all the information that I get. Don't you like all that sometimes?
I read it. I don't prep nothing. I read it now and then I go from there.
Oh, it's fresh.
The green flag is in the air, and it's time for the Speedway Line Report, presented by Shaler Acura of Manchester, broadcasting from our WATR studios in Waterbury, Connecticut, and streaming live around the world. It's 90 minutes of auto racing news. Now, here's...
Hello everyone, Gary Danko here in our Waterbury studio, right alongside my co-host Rocket Rick Rotundo from R&R Fabrication. He's also the crew chief on Eric Burns. SK Modified number 66 machine that runs over at the Stafford Motor Speedway. This show is also being brought to you by Embroidery Works, J.M. Montesano Auto Body, Jim's Lawn Care Service, Grotto Restaurant,
and Your Car, Your Choice, the Auto Body Association of Connecticut.
Well, Rick, got a lot going on tonight here on our 8th show of 2014. What'd you do last weekend? Of course, we were off Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, we were off last weekend, so I was just played in the rain up at Stafford, and then just got some parts ready and everything else. I mean, people are still getting parts and getting ready and just can't wait. Everybody can't wait to start racing on Friday nights.
Yeah, because we're 2 weeks in a row at Stafford Motor Speedway. Then the third week they've got summer racing in, and then Mother Nature not kind again, of course. And then the Wheel and Modified Tour had to come back, and of course they're going to try to do it all over again this weekend.
Yeah, they're kind of lucky that they had a big space in between races here, so they can still try to get this race in. But I mean, it's got to be tough on them guys to be coming back to the racetrack 3 weeks in a row. It's just all that travel and everything else, you got to get everything geared up, and all the guys got to take, it's not that you got to take full days off, but everybody got to take the partial days off to get to the track. It's tough for every guy that's on all the tour crews. I mean, you race there Friday nights, you know the deal, but when you're on the tour, you don't plan on going to the racetrack 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah, and got no control over Mother Nature.
No, and like I said, when they had that rain a few weeks ago, boy did we get soaked. Everybody got soaked when we had that 9 laps of that SK race. I mean, I got rained on as much as everybody else. I just have more to collect more water than most people, so I look wetter.
Okay. Well, tonight, Kevin Rice is going to bring us up to speed on the SBM 125, and he got to go to Bowman Gray Stadium this past weekend. And of course, if you follow on Facebook all the action that took place there, there was some contact with 2 drivers. We'll talk to them about that and much, much more. Nick Salva is already here in our Waterbury studio. He's going to be coming up just about 6:35. We'll talk to him about his SK Light Modified win back, I believe, the last time that Stafford got the racing action, and we'll talk to him all about that. And Craig Lutz was a big winner this past weekend at Waterford Speed Bowl. It's always great to see first-time winners, no matter what division it is. And Craig Lutz put his SK Modified into the winner's circle at Waterford Speed Bowl. And Les Hinkley Sr. is going to join us by phone. He's going to tell us how things are progressing with his grandson. Of course, this is Les Hinkley, who races on the Valente Modified Racing Series. This is his son, Alan, who's gone through a lot of medical issues over the last couple of months. Some fundraisers are coming up. We're going to tell you all about that and much, much more. And we'll take your phone calls, 203-757-1320. We'll take our first commercial break. When we come back, Kevin Rice will be all set to go.
to Shaler Acura and test drive the all-new redesigned RDX Sport Utility. Built for the size of your life, the all-new RDX reflects a new kind of luxury that values the
First radio
resourceful,
show you ever
an
did?
engine that's powerful
Okay.
yet efficient,
And you live in
technology that
Prospect, so
optimizes your
it's
time,
nice.
a design that puts
Yeah,
excellence
and then if I
ahead
can
of
get in
excess.
studio guests,
Come
it's
to
always
Shaler
nice.
Acura
I mean,
today and test
you know,
drive
Woody
this
Pitcat's made the
exciting
trip
all-new
down
SUV,
many times,
or see it on the web at
which,
Shaler
you know, we appreciate that. And, you know, obviously there's some people that can't make it, depending on where they live, and totally understand that.
Nowhere else but Sheila.
Of course, Robert Baggett, Glastonbury, Connecticut. We rolling?
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's all fine. It's all good stuff.
You're even in the opening clip. He's in the opening clip. He's the guy that Joey hits head on.
Oh, what, he T-boned me last year? That was my first race last year.
Okay.
I drove from 19th and got the second.
Car still bent.
It's, uh,
Now, I know, and Ricky's gonna ask you this later, but what kind of car?
Where?
Troy, was it?
Opinions
Whose car was
expressed
it
on the
before?
Speedway line report
was
do not
Johnny Jensen's
necessarily
and Bo
reflect
ran
those
as
of
an SK and then-
WATR management and
Okay.
staff.
And
or
Jensen, they still got that
management and staff
chassis
of the
car.
SpeedwayLineReport.com
That's
or
next.
VintageModifieds.com.
Beautiful car.
Did he sell it?
Welcome back to the Speedway Line Report, presented to you by Shaler Acura of Manchester, Connecticut.
Your car, your choice. The Auto Body Association of Connecticut.
And don't forget that we mentioned the YouTube guy, Robert Baggett. You can just type in Robert Baggett and hit subscribe. And he does a great job. He goes to mostly Stafford on Friday nights, but he's going to start branching out and going to different racetracks. And, of course, we appreciate everything he does for us here on Speedway Line Report Radio. And, of course, Tom Ormsby, former modified driver, the webmaster of SpeedwayLineReport.com, puts my radio show up onto his website. And a big thank you to Tom and everything that he does. Some people have been asking me over the last couple of weeks, how is Tom Ormsby doing? I spoke to him last night. I actually talked to him today. And, you know, he's coming along pretty good. He's got to go to a lot of doctor visits. But all in all, where he was a few months ago, Tom is doing okay. And definitely glad for that as well. So Kevin Rice, he's going to be joining us in just a couple of minutes. And Ricky, the SBM 125, I believe this is going to be the third SBM 125.
Okay,
And
I'm
we'll-
not sure. It's the third one?
Yeah, we'll find out with Kevin, but I'm pretty sure this will be the third SBM 125 coming up in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Okay, but the gentleman that's going to tell us more, he's on the line with us right now, Kevin Rice. Kevin, how are you tonight?
For you.
I'm doing very well. First of all, we'll kick the conversation off. The SBM 125, is this going to be the third annual?
It's actually the fourth.
Oh, fourth, okay, I'm sorry. Okay,
Car, so it was a good race, but we build it each year. It was 28 for race 2 and 32 for race 3.
okay. And what can we expect in a couple of weeks for the SBM 125?
Car counts, actually, I'm not even 100% sure yet. It's kind of early, but probably somewhere in the 30 or 35 range again, I would say.
And
The purse, probably going to be just a little bit higher. It's definitely higher to the top 24. I just did the math, and it's at 44,120 right now. That's assuming we sell the laps. I think there's like 6 laps left, which we will. So, and a big part of that, I haven't even gotten this out there yet, but I got a sponsor that's putting up $2,000, so the top 10 are all going to, at halfway, are all going to get $200.
okay. And I know you've been going out doing a lot of recruiting. You and many others that really help with the SBM 125. And what's the response when you ask some of these drivers and car owners about coming to this race? What's the reaction?
Well, they're either super excited or it just doesn't fit in their schedule. So everybody that's been to the race knows it's a good event. So there'll be plenty of good cars to go around, that's for sure.
Okay.
Knowing exactly who they're going to be, I mean, I know, like Ryan Priest, Matt Ershman, John McKennedy, Steve Massey and Jeff Rocco and I could keep going on, Tommy Barrett, Chris Pastriak.
A lot of top shoes.
Yeah, there's a couple of easy ones like Stefanik, they're not sure, and Teddy wasn't sure. I kind of think he's probably going to run Waterford, but I talked to him Saturday, and he didn't give me a yes or a no, so Zachem will be there, Todd Inarumo, and should be a great event. Andy Sykes will be running his brand new car for the first time, so he could be a factor. And young kid, 14 years old, Matt Swanson, who won at Star Saturday, finished third in the Nemo Lights in his fourth ever Nemo Lights appearance. He was pretty impressive at Lee, and he knows Star better than Lee, so he could turn some heads there too.
And what is the exact date for this race?
June 14th, a week from Saturday.
Okay, I just wanted to make it, because we were talking about it, but nobody said the date yet, so I just want to get it out there so everybody knows that it'll be June 14th.
1,000 to take the green this year.
And I was going there next, of course, Star Speedway, and I was going to let Kevin explain the date like he did, June 14th. And is there a website that fans or competitors can go to check things out for this event?
Well, as far as getting updates, the best place is probably the Tri-Track Open Modified Series Facebook page, or the Star Speedway Facebook page, or my Facebook page is probably, might even be the number one place, but star-speedway.com, the website as well, we'll be sending updates in there. Pretty much, we're trying to make everything the same as last year because everybody was so happy with it. So, and it's come together really well with all the bonuses. I was really surprised at how many people signed up and then even up the amount they put up last year. So we're in good shape. We might hit the all-time record for a Star Speedway payoff. That's the goal.
Right, that's all positive. Now, what happens should their Mother Nature not be kind to you guys on June 14th? Do you have a rain date?
I don't have an entry blank in front of me, but there's a date in August where there wasn't any other tours going on. Just hoping that doesn't become an issue, because you know as well as me that one of the other tours is going to get rained out again the way things are going and scheduled on that date. So, but we've had perfect weather every SPM race. It was a little cold one year, but other than that, the weather's been great. So.
Yeah, I know, I was talking with Jeff Rocco, and he said that if everything is cleared up, he was going to go to that race, so I think he wants to start from the pole.
He did well last year. Yeah, he did well. Lee, too. He banked, what, $3,700?
Yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah, he played it smart.
No, all positive. I mean, you gotta go out and do what you gotta do, no question about that.
Yeah, I mean,
Ryan Priest, he hasn't won the race yet. He's bound to be able to beat Hirschman this year. But he's taken home over $3,000 all 3 years, each year.
We're talking with Kevin Rice. We're talking about the SBM 125 coming up on June 14th at Star Speedway. Our phone lines are open at 203-757-1320. We're streaming online at WATR.com, and we do archive all of our shows by going to SpeedwayLineReport.com. Back on with Kevin Rice. Kevin, let's talk about the officials that you bring in for this position. Do you handpick them, you and your staff?
I kind of did last year. I brought in Jen, who's been working with the MRS to do the scoring, Jen Reddy, and that solved any possible issues because I think it was SBM2 with the scorer was late arrival, and it kind of screwed up the whole night. So I was determined to fix that problem. So, and we have John Spence flagging, and Ben Dodge announcing. After you're handling attack with a crew of probably 6 or 8 guys, there's a one tire pit stop, and we're still toying around with exactly how we're going to do that, but they paved the pits, so that's a huge difference from last year. We have extra lighting coming in, and the pits are paved, so it should be good no matter what.
Now, they're allowed to change one tire, or they have to change one tire?
Oh, they're allowed. This isn't the Coma series. I'm not going to have a disaster like that.
Okay, I just wanted to just throw that out there so everybody understood that you didn't have to change the tire, you're allowed one.
To the Deer Hill with the Coma series, why don't they just make pitting optional? Why do they have to pit? Because that's what's been screwing that series up.
Yeah.
It's a circus because they don't have any cautions. Well, they don't have to pit. If they want. That way they're not going to pit under green.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I mean, just like when they do that north-south race and things like that, it makes it tough.
Yeah.
Hey.
No problems at all last year, and even the year before was pretty good too, so.
So just to recap everything, the SBM 125 coming up June 14th at Star Speedway. You said about 36, 38 cars so far will be ready to go. You talked to us about the officials that you're bringing in. And what else should race fans or competitors know about the SBM 125?
Well, the admission, same as last year, it's $25 for adults. Kids 10 and under free. Seniors and juniors is $20. We have time trials to set the heat race lineups, which is different from Lee. I'm just a strong believer in that, especially at Star, because it's tight quarters. I don't want anybody wrecking in the heat race because they drew a bad number or something to that effect, you know. So I think it makes it fair every way. And everybody seems to be in agreement with that. I haven't heard anybody that has any problems with it. So.
Great. And once again, just fans, competitors, or anybody interested in going, they can check out things where for the SBM 125.
Star-Speedway.com will have all the scheduling information, and the Tri-Track Facebook page will as well. The start times, the modified heats will be right at 6 o'clock sharp. We'll start before that with the other divisions in case anybody's got to work and can't make it until 6. We make it that way. But things really go, doing it that way, things really go fast from 6 o'clock till the feature goes green at 8:30. It's modifieds, you know.
Right.
A 3-hour quick hitter for race fans. They don't have to sit there for 8 hours or anything.
Now, when you guys are doing the time trials and then the heat races?
Trials are like 4:30ish. Just to line up the heats. We had really good competitive heats last year, even with time trials. Because the competition is so good. So.
Yeah, and then do you do the same thing with the time trials, the heat races, where if you start 5th and you pass 4 cars, it gives you, to set your running order for the race?
No, it just goes there where you finish.
Okay, no, I like that way better. No, I mean the way you're doing it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that plus minus. I'm just not a fan of that plus minus thing. It gets confusing.
Can't figure out what's going on. Draw either because AJ and Koyak's coming 8 hours. The Hills are finding out tonight if they're coming 12 hours. I don't want them showing up and drawing last place in their heat, and then they got to struggle just to get in the race just because they drew a number out of a box, you know.
Yeah, the drawing the numbers is tough. It's like with the MRS. Jeff Rocco, they draw numbers out of the hat 1 to 50. And at Thompson, he drew 50 he was the last guy to go get his tires out of the tire truck. And then he drew the number 50 again to line up for the heat races, so he started dead last in the last heat race. So he was behind the 8 ball all day.
I mean, you got to burn your tires up just trying to get in the race.
Yeah, it's you get them races, but it's just tough the way it works out.
Yep. Performance-based. And the money is, too. The top 10, there's the lap money every lap, half to the leader and half to another top 10, plus the halfway bonus. Everybody gets $200 if you're in the top 10. be an extra bonus for the leader, which I haven't finalized yet. So there'll be plenty of money to go around.
Kevin Rice is on the line with us tonight. He's our first guest of the evening, talking about the SBM 125. Let's switch gears here a little bit, Kevin. Did I see that you were at Bowman Gray Stadium this past weekend?
You know, that's a perfect night to be there, or what?
Well, that's exactly. I mean, first of all, from everything that I saw from the video of the stands, of course, they always pack them in there, number one. But first of all, how many cars did they have that started that modified feature? And then take us through your night there, because I know it was pretty entertaining. At least that's what I viewed on Facebook.
Yeah, 23 cars, and here's something that you probably don't know. They drew for every position. Everybody says, well, in the South they start heads up all the time. It's no fun. Burt Myers started 22nd and won the race. Spencer Davis started 21st, and he finished in the top 10 too. He just kind of kept his nose clean. Burt was on the outside passing cars in that little track. I think a misconception is, just from watching that TV show, and maybe if you've only been there once, is you can't really pass there, but Burt did. I mean, he went to the outside. He was outfitted Tim Brown for 6 laps before he passed him, but he did. He passed him on the outside, so it can be done.
And now let's talk about the altercation between the two drivers.
Well, just before that, actually a little before that, Kyle Ebersol, who people probably know because he's a modified guy, he's raced up north. He moved down here. He was racing side-by-side with Chris Fleming, and they both spun out racing for the lead. So then I put Junior in the lead, who had started 6th. John Smith had him beat on a restart, so he got dumped going into 1. Junior kind of forgot to turn the corner there going into 1, and sent John Smith in the wall. But one thing, people say that, why don't they do this stuff at other tracks? You can't, because Bowman Gray is, you're going slower. John Smith hit the wall and he finished the race, you know. I mean, if you do that to somebody at Waterford, they're going to hit the wall and they're going to go off on a record, you know.
Could
I don't agree with the type of racing that goes on there, but there actually is racing. I mean, this was my 4th time there, 3rd time this year, 3rd time there, 2nd time this year, and there actually is racing there, which kind of has surprised me.
what was
At the end there, Burt got the 2nd there after he spent 6 laps outside of Tim Brown, got past him, and he just waited till the last turn. I mean, he told me before Daytona that if he was in 2nd, he was going to do that. So, I mean, I would say it was premeditated, but he said he didn't try to dump him, but it sure looked that way.
and from the and tell us, you were there. Tell us the reaction from the fans when they got together.
That's the fun part. 16,000 people standing and cheering and booing, and you couldn't even hear over the PA system what Burt was saying. Which he was saying that Tim Brown pushed him into it, which wasn't the case, but he was trying to calm the crowd down, I guess. And as soon as he got out of the car, he got slugged by Junior's sister in the gut. So.
Oh, that's who that was, huh?
Yeah, it's tough racing down there. It's like, you know, they had that series on TV for a little bit while and stuff like that, and you know, it's just a different type of racing that they do down there, and they do it right because they're getting 16,000 people to go there.
Yeah.
Kevin,
Doesn't hurt either. It was ladies' night. It was $2 for women and $12 for men. So, and that's because they had the K&N. Or with the K&N, I guess they still had that low admission price. Average weekly show is $10. So.
and speaking of the K&N E-Series, Ben Rhodes picked up the victory there. Kevin, let me ask you this. Why do you think the fans, they pack them in at Bowman Gray Stadium?
There's that anticipation of what's going to happen next, for sure. but it's also affordable family fun. I mean, it's a lower income area in North Carolina, so other people have less money, and it's their night out. The tailgate and everything. It's really like nothing else. It's like like the Oswego 200 used to be. Only it's like that every week. It's pretty neat.
And would you say that all of the people that pile in there at Bowman Gray Stadium, they're all race fans? I would say a good majority, in my opinion, a good majority of them are. But are there other people that are looking for things to do in the area, traveling through, or is there other things to do? And they says, oh, they got some short track racing. Let's go check it out.
Yeah, I don't think it's not really not as far as I can tell. It's not really a tourism area at all. It's all the locals going.
Okay.
And then you get some people that come from out of the area because it's so unique. They want to, check it out. It's hard to pinpoint exactly what other tracks could do to help themselves. It's not an easy answer, but having drivers race like they do at Bowman Gray is not the answer because you're going to be wrecking cars.
Yeah, but I mean, just like you were saying though, if you had a family of 4 with 2 teenager kids, for $100, you guys went to the racetrack, everybody ate and drank something, and you went home, and you did it all for less than $100. There ain't no other track that you can go to do that.
No.
And what do they always say? Short track racing, yes, it's a business to racetracks. For the competitors, of course, you've got fierce competitors. They all want to win. And, of course, the fans want to be entertained. Yes, you want to see some good side-by-side racing on the racetrack. We all know that. But when things take place like they do, and, of course, people are talking about it at the water cooler the next couple of days.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things like.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's all right. I was just gonna say, it's one of the things where, as the competitors working on the cars and racing, our first goal is to win the race. The second is to try to put on, make sure that we try to put on a good show. If we're not gonna do anything, just, work hard and don't do anything stupid and, put on a good show. And the promoters and everything else, they want the good show. They don't really care too much who wins the race.
Okay.
They had to be smiling with what was going on because things have been kind of tame this year so far. But that was just like old times there with Junior Miller, who was like, he's in his early 60s. And the guy was really racing good. He's been good this year. And opening night he did well too. So he's had a couple of down years, but he's back.
In case people listening to this tonight on Speedway Land Report Radio wondering what we're talking about, if you didn't happen to see it on Facebook, there was an altercation between Burt Myers and Junior Miller, and they came together coming to the checkered flag, and then afterward Miller was trying to go after Myers, and then the officials stepped in the middle there, so that took care of that. And then as we were talking about, it was, who was it that punched Burt Myers in the stomach?
Junior's sister.
Junior's sister, okay. And so check it out. You probably go to YouTube and check that all out. But anyways, Kevin, I want to thank you for your time tonight on Speedway Land Report Radio. Once again, the SBM 125 coming up on June 14th at Star Speedway. Good, you got a lot of entries already, and you guys do a great job of putting that together, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Kevin Rice joining us tonight on this edition of Speedway Land Report Radio. When we come back, we're going to talk to a driver from Prospect, Connecticut. He runs in the SK Light Modified Division at Stafford Motor Speedway. He's already picked up a victory. Nick Salva will be sitting right here when we come back.
Nowhere else but Shaler Acura in Manchester. Visit Connecticut's first Acura dealer and find out why Shaler Acura is the state's.
Can you go to the water cooler and get me some water? Is that running? Yeah. All right, we'll watch what we got. We got anything bad to say?
Well, it's tough to work the mic with Kevin Rice because there's a lot of pauses, and then you don't know if he's going to say anything else. you know, when you
We
shut
do
up
have
the
something
mic.
bad to say, but you sent the wrong guy to the water cooler. We got paragraph grapes when he sits right here.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Sitting
You
right
insult-
here.
You can't insult me.
Well, we do it right on the air.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So it does.
I put up through it anyway.
Yeah. How many years you been with me now?
Over 10. Well,
Yeah,
you
because there was
started
a
in
time-
2000,
there was a
but then
time-
there was like 2 seasons I wasn't here.
There was a time when you were not with us.
Right, because I wasn't doing afternoons.
Right.
You were doing 420 instead.
Now we know mics are cold, video running.
Video.
That's all right. We're not saying anything. Really, we're not. But sometimes we do. The off-air stuff would be probably better than what goes on air. But anyways, all right, so you all set? Yeah, I am going to mention about this shirt right here, because let me tell you, that shirt is an old shirt, and of course we all remember Ted Doubleday, of course Snoopy on there, and somewhere DZ is on. Well, I know on some of the stickers that they had, it was on there. But we'll make mention of that because it's something that I grew up with in Southington. And here comes the YouTube guy getting me some water. Nick got some water for you there. Ricky, he doesn't, well, no, he's not on the show.
That's like I work for so long during the day, I don't drink or eat. Shovel something in. Drink a quart of water at the same time. That would be good for it.
I don't think we said anything bad, so, but just double check.
Yeah.
When you edit.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Speedway Line Report, presented to you by Shaler Acura of Manchester.
Your car, your choice. The Auto Body Association of Connecticut.
Welcome back, everyone. Gary Danker right alongside Rocket Rick Rotundo from R&R Fabrication. Hey, we got to get a good look. Our next guest, he's all set to go. He runs an SK Light Modified over at Stafford Motor Speedway. He's already picked up a victory in 2014. He's got a really good race car. But this shirt that he has on brings back memories. Of course, RT Speed, which was located in Southington. That design right there was designed by someone that I know very well, Dale Zarella. Designed that. Of course, we were looking for if the DZ was on there anywhere. I know on the decals it used to be, and of course, Ted Doubleday, known him for a long, long time. And Ricky, you remember RT Speed?
Oh yeah, I went to RT Speed a ton back in the day. I mean, it was just, if you needed a race car part, that's where you had to go. I mean, that was the way it is. I mean, with computers and everything else now, it's just so hard for a store like that to try to even survive.
So, and you were telling me you're what, 22?
Yes, 22.
Yeah, our next guest, Nick Salva, all set to go. 22 years old, and yeah, so yeah, definitely an old shirt. But I remember when Dale designed that, and of course, I caught everybody's attention. I mean, they had all kinds of stuff, T-shirts, they had decals, and some other things as well. But let's talk auto racing with you, Nick. First of all, thanks for stopping by our Waterbury studio.
Oh, no problem. Thank you very much for having me.
You're very welcome. Let's talk about how it all got started for you when you first drove a race car in your early days.
The first time I drove a race car, I was 16 years old. A guy from Wallingford, Henry Heward, with H&H Transmission.
Sure.
He was, actually he helped us with a 21 car that my Uncle Bo was driving. And he came forward to me one day and just said, hey, I bought a race car, would you like to drive? And I said, well, heck yeah. And we ran the following race, the Dare Stock. We finished out that season with the Dare Stock, rebuilt the car, and went on from there.
Okay, yeah, I know Mr. Ewart, of course, his son used to race up at Riverside Park Speedway,
Yes.
Brian.
Yep.
And of course, they own H&H Transmission right out of Wallingford, Connecticut, so I know them very, very well. So, okay, so continue.
We ran the Dare Stock, probably about a total of 20 races on and off for about 3 years, and just struggled with sponsors and stuff. And we did get a win, had some good runs, and then Bo was running the SKs at the time. Money was tight, so he decided to stop racing the modifieds, which gave me the opportunity to take the car, run it as an SK Light. We ran the first season the way he had it. Unfortunately, it was a little bit bent, so we did struggle partially. Then the following season, we sat out the first good 3/4 of it. I had Brad from Northeast reclip the car, go out, go through everything. Brad Auto Machine refreshed my motor, and we've been fast ever since.
And of course, you're referring to Bo Gunning. We know anybody that's been involved in racing for a long, long time, they certainly know the history of Bo and, you know, wins and championships here, there, and everywhere. So you're in some good company.
Yes.
And what does Bo tell you now that you're in an open wheel SK Light Modified.
He offers me advice from his mindset now. Everybody knows bull gunning back in the day as a rough, tough kind of racer, take nothing. And he has wisened up a bit in my, in my good graces, just because he tells me, he's like, well, this is the mistakes I've made throughout the years, and this is how to handle this kind of situation and that kind of situation. So I definitely think it will help me in the long run.
And Ricky, you've known Nick for how long?
Many years. I've known Nick, and that's like with Bo. I mean, Bo, my uncle, used to race, and I mean, they used to have altercations, but it's not like you see, altercations like today. I mean, they used to get into, fights in the pits, and then a few hours later, they were both sitting next to each other at the bar, arguing who's buying the round of drinks. I mean, it was different back then, and people don't understand that. They wanted to win on the racetrack, but they left it at the racetrack. And that's just the way it was. I mean, Bo was hurt for a while back in the 80s. Johnny was doing well in the 80s. And Johnny would hang around with Bo just to hang around with Bo. He'd be driving to job sites that he's checking out, and just with Bo gunning, they're like, who are you with? And, nobody would understand. It's like, don't worry about it, And it was just, that's the way that they were. And like I said, I've known Bo since the 80s. And, I've known the whole family. And we've all, here and there, some people are gone for a little while, and then you come back. But I've known him for a long time, and, good driver. When he's out there, the car's fast, just needs a little bit of luck to go his way.
And of course, Ricky referred to his uncle, we've said it many times here on the show, but if you're just tuning in, John Anderson, J.A., who ran Riverside, Stafford, Plainville, and other racetracks as well. And matter of fact, a couple of weeks ago, somebody had put up on Facebook a picture of the Astra Body number 11 that he ran at Riverside Park Speedway, and it was brought back memories for me seeing that car.
When that got posted up there, I was getting texted, hey, did you see the thing? Did you see it? Did you see it? I'm like, I have books of it. Yeah, I know what it is.
But a lot of people haven't seen that car in a long time.
It's been a long time. I mean, just like, back then it was a thing too. You had fan clubs, and
Right.
you had I think it was a lollipop. I think we even have one in the book. It was written on people would handwrite on the, stem of the lollipop and everything else. Anderson Race Team and this and that.
And Dick Powers was actually the president of John Anderson's fan club, and you got a certificate. Of course, back in the day, I was a Bob Pulveruri fan, and Dick at that time was the president of Bob Pulveruri's fan club, and of course you got the certificate saying you were a member of this. But anyways, getting back to our guest, Nick Salva from Prospect, Connecticut, runs an SK Light Modified over at Stafford Motor Speedway. That guy right there, sitting to your right, Rick Rotundo, actually gave you your first shot and actually to get into a modified car. Tell us about that.
Well, to drive around.
Yeah.
Well, right.
Never got to the racetrack, but that would have been fun. Yeah, it was funny. We were sitting there. I believe I was walking over to get something to drink from the concession stand, and all of a sudden this big arm comes around and grabs me right by the shoulder and just tells me to get in the race car. I'm like, okay. Yeah, Eric Burton was running the SK feature at that time, and they were trying to get all the tour cars over the scales around back to get ready for the lineup, and I guess I'm pretty close at the same time as Eric Burnt, so because we passed over the scales, and then they pushed me off, and I'd driven standard before on the street, but never a super clutch in a tour car. So Big Rick over here said, nah, you'll figure it out. Just let me know when you get out back. 2 or 3 tries, we had it. It wasn't too bad.
Okay. Now let's talk about so far in 2014 over at Stafford Motor Speedway. Of course, Mother Nature not kind to them for about 3 or 4 weeks. But let's talk about your victory. Let's talk about this car you're racing, and let's go from there.
The season started out pretty decently. Even this spring Sizzler, we had weather issues. We got cut short 3 laps on Sizzler weekend. The second week, we got a little banged up. Started, I believe, 5th. Got up to 2nd. Spun out of 2nd. Drove from, I believe we started 18th or 19th. Drove back up to 2nd, and another altercation with 2 to go took us out. But the win, that was amazing. That was a childhood dream come true. I mean, I've been, since Ricky knew me, I was 5 years old, sitting in the grandstands, just dreaming of driving a modified and let alone to win. But the car handled very well. It's just a very good, very well-mannered race car. It's a 96 center section Troyer with an 08 front clip. Rad Auto Machine did the motor for me, and it's just a very, very well-mannered race car. It's very impressive. Rick actually did the body for me on the car, and very pretty car. It's very simple to drive. It's almost unreal. People, I don't know if you guys ever heard, there's always that one race car that just, no matter what you did to it, always went good. That seems to be this race car.
And let's go back a little bit. You also ran dare stocks up at
Yes.
Stafford.
Yep, I ran dare stocks for over the course of 3 seasons, and we did very well with that. I mean, that was a time where the 305 engine was kind of getting phased out with the new, they have the new crate motor, which is actually what we run in the SK Light. So we struggled for the last part of that, but we got to the point where it was either put a lot of money into a dare stock and try to become competitive, or move up to the SK Light, so we chose to move up to the SK Light.
Talk about the competition in the SK Light modified division.
From what people say, now my Uncle Bo did run SK Lights at Stafford, I believe the year before last, and he said it is so hard to recover just because it's a momentum race car. You cannot break momentum if you have one little bobble in the corner, it takes you straight away in half to recover. Whereas in SK, you have a little bob in the corner, the motor has the power to overcome that. So it's a lot more momentum, a lot more feel. I will say it is a lot cheaper to run just because engines are quarter of the cost, but still the same thing. You rip the right front wheel off with Torque R and SK Light, you're still replacing the same suspension parts.
Right.
Yeah, I would imagine that would be a little bit harder for Bo to race that, because when you're taking that little bit of a step back,
Right.
it's just one of them things when you're so used to doing it a certain way over
Exactly.
decades of driving, now you have to try to change. It's one thing if you're going faster, you're trying to change it.
Right.
Now you gotta go slower and then try to change it when, before I used to be able to make it up by doing this. Well,
Right.
that hurts you worse.
Right,
You know?
exactly.
And that, I can imagine that being a tough thing, and Bo's the type of guy too, he'll tell you right after, oh, I did something stupid.
Right, exactly, exactly.
Our second guest of the evening is here in our Waterbury studio, Nick Salva out of Prospect, Connecticut. He runs an SK Light Modified. You're listening to the Speedway Line Report on WATR 1320 AM. We're also streaming online at WATR.com. And you can also go to SpeedwayLineReport.com, catch us there live or in a rebroadcast. Former modified driver Tom Ormsby gets my show up onto his website. Probably we finish the show at 7:30. By 7:45, he's got it up, and you can listen to it at your convenience. Nick, what Stafford Motor Speedway? What's been hard for you getting around that racetrack, just in an SK Light open wheel car?
And SK Light, I would have to say turns 3 and 4, because everybody, turn 1 and turn 4 are the tightest turns. Turn 2 and turn 3 are very flowing. You could drive a little bit deeper in turn 1, and turn 2 is more forgiving. If you drive too deep into turn 3, turn 4 is very unforgiving. So that, to get the line down was a little bit of an issue. I wouldn't say issue, just a little bit more difficult than any results. So Bo helped me a lot to get my line in 3 and 4 down pat. So we ran Thompson, the World Series, not this past year, the year before, ran very well. And that is definitely a very fun racetrack also to run.
Yeah, well, Thompson is, you put your car, close to the wall there and just keep it matted just about the whole way around with them things, so.
That's for sure. Oh yeah, a lot of fun.
And then that's like you were talking about with Stafford there, got a caught on there. You were talking about, Stafford being, that's all you've ever raced on was Stafford, and then you did the one race at Thompson, right?
Yes, yes.
And then do you have any plans to go to Waterford just to check that out?
If we could get a rear, see, that's the only issue. That's why it's easy to go from Stafford to Thompson. The rear end ratio's the same. I don't have a rear for Waterford. Later on in the year, the sponsorships are still there and everything's still flowing. We'd like to go try to run there. I heard that's probably one of the more difficult tracks to race at, just because everything happens so quickly there. Thompson, so many spins. Not that you have more racetrack. It's just a little bit of a slower process. Well, speed-wise, I know Thompson's faster, but Waterford, they say everything happens, at the snap of a finger before you know everything's
Yeah,
done.
it's quick. I was behind the wheel. I won't say I was driving, but I was behind the wheel at Waterford for a while there, and I got into a few wrecks there, boy. And we talked about it briefly once. It's before you get into an accident, it's like you got 10 minutes when you know you're gonna wreck the car.
Right.
People don't understand that everything slows down so much. I'm 15 feet away from the wall and I'm hitting it straight on. I'm burying this thing straight into the wall. I'm like, this is done. You're going 80, 90 miles an hour, whatever it is. I'm like, okay, 2 feet on the brake, hold back on the wheel. Okay, get ready. I'm like, is this gonna come? Next thing you know, I felt like a turtle because my neck stretched out in front of the air cleaner. It felt like because you hit the wall so hard. And it's just funny. Your mind and everything thinks so fast right before you get in an accident. It's like it extends that millisecond into like minutes.
Right, exactly. I had one accident with a dare stock. Somebody's throttle stuck coming out of turn 4, and I ended up pinched between the wall, and I went airborne, and I've seen Bo go airborne a few times, so I see how quickly things go wrong. And like you said, it's amazing. Feels like you can look around, move around, and do what you want, and then you're slowly moving toward the wall.
Yeah, it's funny, because a lot of people, some people close their eyes or, let go of the wheel and stuff. I wasn't one of them people. I held onto the wheel like a bear. And I can't tell you how many racks I ripped apart because I held onto the wheel. And I hit the wall one time and I hit it with the rack, and I held onto that wheel. I bent the wheel, and the top of the rack all broke right off, and the gear was laying in there.
Oh, wow.
It just shattered because I just didn't want to let go. And it's like, you get that stubbornness in you. No, I can hold it. Yeah, I can hold it all right.
Nick, getting back to that first victory you got in the SK Light Modified at Stafford Motor Speedway, what was the reaction from your crew and your family?
Actually, my mother was not able to make it there. She was down visiting my grandmother in South Carolina, so that was a little bit of an upset for her because she was actually asleep when we won. She had driven all night the night before to get down there, but so she was very happy when she woke up. It was very unbelievable. Bo was the first one. My father and Bo came to Victory Lane. Bo gave me a huge hug, told me to get on the roof, which explained the picture. And then to see my sponsors, Gene and Bridget Poulin, was just amazing because they, over the off season they came to me, wanted to help me, and that's a huge deal to me to have them be willing to help me. So to see them in Victory Lane all smiles is very comforting. Same thing for my crew. I mean, these guys dedicate a lot of time and effort into these cars, and makes it feel worth it for them.
Talk about your crew members that work on the car.
I have my crew chief is Bob Buffington. He was involved with Chuck Zintarski back in the day. He helped Jim Adler-Jonas, and he has a lot of experience. He's helped my uncle the past few years. His brother George Buffington was with my uncle back in the 80s, and I've known both of them since I was, same as Rick, when I was very little. We have a couple of other people. Joe and Kyle are two friends of mine. Kyle, she races in Legend down at the Speed Bowl. I went to high school with them. We've been friends ever since. Big Jim, Henry, Paul, Randy, Jake. It's definitely a team effort. My stepfather, he's down there every night working on that car. I mean, the amount of hours he has in is unbelievable. I mean, him and me both, every time we get home, we just tinker around with the race car.
Now, the SK Light Modified's great division. We've seen a lot of good drivers come from that division and go on. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. But of course, there's no two-way radios in that car. There's no spotters that can, talk to you. The only thing you can hear is the track to you.
Correct.
What's your thoughts on that? Would you like to see two-way radios?
I would. Me and my stepfather have actually discussed this. I would like to see a two-way radio, but monitored. See, the biggest reason they say they won't give us a two-way radio is they think somebody's going to drive. The spotter will drive the race car for us as far as blocking and that stuff. I mean, if they monitored it, they could give you a warning and say, hey, track, and everybody slowed down, everybody got by, and the 87 car didn't know the caution was out, and just slid right into me, T-boned me, and actually almost took me out for the rest of the season. Thank God that the damage of the car wasn't that bad, but it was definitely a heck of a whack.
And you were okay?
Yes, I was fine. But I would like to see, Thompson and Waterford do it. I would like to see Stafford do it. I don't know if they ever would, but I think it would be beneficial because, the car counts aren't going up, they're only going down. I mean, it's not a cheap sport to run, and every little bit will help us.
Sure. Rick?
I think that they should do something with the radios. I mean, whether they monitor them or something, because, that's just like Tony Membrino a couple years ago. He would have won the championship if he had somebody on the radio.
Correct.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Because if he had somebody on the radio, they would have told him, listen, back way off from them guys.
And just roll.
You got 15 car lengths behind you, and you got it. But he didn't know how many points he needed or what exactly he needed at the time. I know it's circumstances, for that particular thing, but these are also drivers that are up and coming. So sometimes they need somebody to help them coach. You're doing that line run. You're going too slow when you do that, and things like that. You have to help coach the guys along. And that's like I even said something about even if they had the radios in the practice or something to try to help them. But then they said, well, then they don't know who's going to have them try to sneak the radios in for the race and this and that, which I do understand that. But, when you have these younger guys that are coming up, it'd just be so much better just to have them, even in the practices, just to have somebody, Bo on the radio with you at the time.
Right.
You're wrong with that line. Just go like this. Or when you're trying to pass that car, don't do it like that. Try to, do it like this. Just little things like that to help you along. I do agree that they shouldn't drive the cars for you.
Right.
But even in the SKs and modifieds, you get people that still try to drive the cars for the people.
Correct.
A couple of minutes left before we break for national news. Okay, now you got that victory in the SK Light Modified. Okay, obviously the goal is to win more races in the championship. What's next after this season? You think you'll stay in an SK Light, or you want to move up?
Obviously, you know, the ultimate goal is to move up. This next season, I really don't know, depending on sponsors and stuff and all that. But yeah, I would like to move up. I mean, SKs, obviously, that's what my uncle runs. That's what I would love to run eventually. I mean, obviously, the ultimate goal for me would be Tour. Just, you know, I believe the Tour car would be extremely fun to drive. But yeah, I'd like to say within the next couple years, we'd like to be SK Modified Racing.
Do you have a favorite driver on the NASCAR Wheel Modified Tour or the Volante Modified Racing Series?
Not really right now. I mean, I'm kind of partial to Eddie Parcher's driver, Ronnie Silk, just because I've known Eddie, ran for Eddie for years and stuff, and I'm friends with Ryan Preece. I know Tommy Barrett and a few other drivers, so it's definitely different. You know, we root for different people along the way.
And speaking of Tommy Barrett won last Thursday night at Thompson in the Volante Modified Racing Series when he made a move to the inside of a fantastic driver, knows how to get the job done, Todd Zegedy. I don't know if anybody was there or they happened to see it up on YouTube, I believe it was, but Tommy Barrett came from SK Lights, World Quarter Midgets to SK Lights, did well. So all in all, you got a good crew, good race car. Talk a little bit more about the car. It's a Troyer car. It was Jensen's, right?
Yes, Johnny Jensen owned it for a long time. Actually, I think Ted drove it at the Speedball at one point for a little while when he drove for John Jensen. And then Johnny had bought a couple new cars and had that one sitting around, and at that point my uncle was looking for an SK Modified to drive, so worked out a deal, and then both started running SKs, and great. I mean, the car went very well, and actually I think it was one heat race we got tied up with Eric Burnt and ended up bending the front clip, and that was kind of the fate of that until I had it.
Okay. And now when you get done tonight at the show, you go back to the shop, or your guys still there? Are they there now?
All the guys come down Tuesdays and Thursdays. My stepfather will be there, and we'll go down and tinker around for the car for the rest of the night.
Okay. Well, Nick, thank you for being a part of the show. Good
Thank
luck
you.
in the remainder of the 2014 season over at Stafford Motor Speedway and the SK Light Modified Division. Hopefully Mother Nature will be kind to Stafford for the remainder of the season. You know, you don't mind rainouts every now and then, but when you get 2, 3 straight, not good.
No, it's definitely not fun.
All right. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
All right. Just a couple of minutes away from national news. Earlier tonight we heard from Kevin Rice talking about the SBM 125, Nick Salva, up-and-coming driver already with a victory at Stafford Motor Speedway in the SK Light Modified Division. Looking for more and looking for a championship as well. Coming up after national news here on Speedway Line Report Radio, we will talk to Les Hinkley Sr. He's going to talk to us about everything that his grandson, Alan Hinkley, has been going through over the last couple of months, Ricky. Really a big strain on family and friends. And of course, Alan is the son of Les Hinkley, who runs the 06 on the Volante Modified Racing Series. Of course, Les Hinkley also ran Riverside Park Speedway. His father also raced as well. So we're going to talk to him in regards to the medical issues going on with Alan. How is he doing? What's next? And of course, the fundraisers that are coming up.
Yeah, so they got some fundraisers coming up, which is a great thing, you know, to help try to do for them and stuff like that. It's just a tough situation with the kids and things like that. I mean, I understand that we've all had, you know, siblings or something that, or ourselves have gone through that, but it's so hard on the family and stuff like that, and to keep on racing, it's a very difficult time for them guys, I'm sure.
No question about that. And of course, tonight, Wild Thing Karts up at Stafford Motor Speedway. That's where your driver is tonight, Eric Burnt, with his young ones.
Yep, today he's the crew chief again.
He's the crew, okay.
Getting yelled at, I love it.
Okay. All right, well, we got about 30 seconds before we break for national news, and we'll come back. You're listening to the Speedway Line Report Radio on WATR 1320 AM. We're with you each and every Monday night from 6 to 7:30 p.m. You can catch us online at WATR.com, or you can also go to SpeedwayLineReport.com, where all shows are archived. Once again, that's SpeedwayLineReport.com. You can go there live or in a rebroadcast. National news is just about 10 seconds away, and when we come back, we'll be set for our next guest. Don't forget, Craig Lutz is also gonna be a part of the show tonight. He won an SK Modified at Waterford Speed Bowl Saturday night. We'll talk to him about that and much more. National News is next.
Radio station for news, talk, and your favorite oldies. 1320 AM
You're more than
WHTR.
welcome, Mr. Rock. Wow.
How'd I do?
You did fantastic. Fantastic, great job.
Legal opinion they used to say that they didn't
Matter of
have
fact,
to
I
follow
gotta take a picture of that,
States.
send it to Dale.
Says there were worries about Bergdahl's health, and there was very
Where
little
was
time.
exactly on
Jay
Queen
Hardy
Street?
also says,
Well, first he was across from Saints, but he was
Oh, way down there,
somewhere
okay.
before. He started out.
I'm on the break at the radio show now.
writing that hacking program known as ransomware. Deputy Attorney General James Cole says
Yeah, we still have a spot open.
freeze PC users out of their machines, encrypt their files, and then
It's just John Lucas Savage is racing. He's got Salamito driving the MRS car, and that's it at this point in time.
is considered one of the world's most wanted cyber criminals.
So.
Fox News Radio's Rachel Sutherland, a big jump in the
Yeah.
minimum wage for workers in one city. Fox News Radio's Tanya J.
that's,
Powers has
you know,
the details live. The vote was unanimous.
We're not gonna make the other guys try to split if we get 2 or 3 guys. We're just looking where it doesn't cost him the full bulk. You know, if he gets 2 other guys at $500 a piece and he's only paying $1,200 during the track, you know. So it works for him.
Labor, business, and nonprofit representatives
Alright.
helped draft the ordinance, and it had heavy support from the city's mayor, who promised it during his
It's
re-election campaign
it's from
last
10 to
year.
2.
The new ordinance takes effect next April, and even
That's when the
allows
practice
silver
runs from
upgrades for
10 to 2 on
teams.
Friday.
Thanks, Tanya.
But you can be there obviously before that when you get in and stuff like that to get set up and do whatever they gotta do with the track. The car can't hit the track till 10.
Radio, fair and balanced.
Hey investors, more
Alright,
breaking
will
news
do.
on gold and silver supply. Reports suggest China and India are trying to corner the market on physical gold and silver. Here's Kevin DeMera
Oh,
to
yeah.
report.
Well, Larry, in a recent interview, billionaire fund manager Eric Sprott tells us in 1 month, China
Right.
purchased
Yeah, you can't burn them
85%
things
of
up.
the physical gold produced, and India bought 16% of the
Oh, yeah,
physical
alright.
silver.
Any questions, just give me a shout, but we'll have you,
Sometime this year,
with us on Friday
the price
practice.
of gold goes north of 2,000, and silver could quickly go over $50 an ounce.
Can our
Okay.
listeners get this report?
We'd be glad
Alright,
to
DJ,
share the
thanks.
report. Plus, we'll even send concerned listeners a free 1
Burner.
gram pure silver bar to show how
That's pretty
sincere
good
we
for
are
the first
about this
time.
Those guys didn't say anything bad because Robert was out for a little bit.
Pure silver gold, near capital
that
today.
one night I thought he was gonna get the win.
8203.
Yeah,
This
against
is a
Lynn.
very limited offer
The win.
only
I thought
available to the first
you were
50
fast that
callers.
day.
Now, 1-800-674-8203.
You guys turn around, I'm watching on the TV screen, and all of a sudden you see the white car come. White car's coming, I'm like, wow, they said Nick's reeling these guys in. And then they started to bang around a little bit, boom, we were right there, and then everything got jostled around, everything got wrecked.
It was Glenn, the 29, 07, and me, and TJ was right on me. Glenn came right down the 29.
Yeah,
Once there,
Let me
one
just grab a
suspect held the victim down, while the other suspect stabbed her
So that must have been their fathers, right?
Yes.
in the arms, legs, and torso.
Waukesha Police Chief Russell Jack, the preteens face attempted first-degree murder charges. They're being
It's
held
hilarious, I
on
can't get a
bail.
shirt to last me 3 months, and it's been how many decades you got this shirt?
Sure older than I am.
She crawled out of some
When you said you were 22, I was gonna say, oh, all right.
President Obama announcing new EPA rules to reduce
Yeah,
carbon
we were
emissions
fast
by
on it.
nearly a
Every
third
time
over
it-
the next 15
It seems like every time I
years.
reach, I come from
Saying
the
in a
back. That's the only
conference
time I
call,
start
he's
off on stage.
expecting
Yeah.
Yeah, DJ was fast. He was going good.
Yeah, he had the chance to get that win down in 1 and 2.
See, when I was going next one, I didn't notice. I don't know if his face or he started leaning a
President says
little
the
too much. Like,
regulations
I was
will
about right
create
here, and he made the left run in, and it shot off the track. I don't know if he's so limited or he can kind of crowd down and actually push down.
Well, I think because of like that, he got a little timid when he went into turn 1. Because I think it was when they got the 2 to go, I think it was 2 to go or 3 to go. When he went into turn 1, he had the outside lane, and he had it. And all he had to do was he didn't have to hit him.
40
He just had to crowd him down to the bottom of the racetrack. And he would have been able to get off to keep his momentum up, and DJ would have had him coming halfway down the straightaway. He would have been cleared to come down. And well, I was watching that on TV, like I said, and I thought he had it. I was like, wow, I could win the second race out.
Stock closed down 0.7%. In San Francisco, Marilyn Kent, Fox News Radio.
9 Inch Nails frontman Oscar winner Trent Reznor, still the chief creative officer of Beats, just acquired by Apple. I'm Jay Metzler, Fox News Radio.
Welcome back to the Speedway Line Report, Presented to you by Shaler Acura.
Your car, your choice. The Auto Body Association of Connecticut.
Welcome back, everyone. Speedway Line Report Radio is presented to you by Shaler Acura of Manchester, Connecticut, and also being brought to you by Embroidery Works, J. Montesano Auto Body, Jim's Lawn Care Service, and Grotto Restaurant. Speaking of Jim's Lawn Care Service, has anybody seen Jim Mayorana, Rick Rotundo?
Yes, I've seen him and talked to him. So I gotta fix something for his trailer again.
Uh-oh, what happened this time?
The one of the bars in the back is all bent up, so I gotta fix it.
Wonder how that happened. Well, you never know. I mean, you never know. He does got a lot of accounts, and of course his equipment certainly gets a workout. There's no question about it. But Jim's Lawn Care Service out of Cheshire, Connecticut, not too far from Rick Rotundo's shop, R&R Fabrication. When it comes to maintenance and lawn care, Jim's Lawn Service can certainly take care of you. You can contact him at 203-272-2054. And Jim's Lawn Care Service, once again, right in Cheshire, Connecticut. He loves racing, goes down to Waterford Speed Bowl, and I'll tell you, he knows a lot of people.
Yeah, he's always talking to somebody.
He certainly is. He certainly is. Nick, do you know Jim?
No, I've never met.
Well, if he ever comes up to Stafford, you'll get the pleasure of meeting Jim. And he's a big fan of racing. He normally goes to Waterford on Saturdays because if his work is all done.
Yeah, he's got to finish up all his lawns or something before he can get down to the racetrack. So.
He was actually coming to my residence today, and my wife wanted a little tree to be moved. So I said, well, you know who? When he arrives on the scene, only one place you need to, that's Jim's Lawn Care Service out of Cheshire, Connecticut. Once again, he does do a good job. Give him a call, 203-272-2054. We're all set for our next guest of the evening. He's a former driver himself. Les Hinkley Sr. now joins us. Les, how are you tonight? Okay, first of all, we'll kick off the conversation with you in regards to how many years did you race for?
Well, it was probably late 60s, 68 until like my 75 at the park. The last couple of years were part-time. And then the last race I ever drove competitively was at Monadnock in 78, and they called it, I think, the Mayflower 100.
Okay, and of course you raced modifieds.
Yes, never drove anything but a modified. That was probably not a good decision at the time because it was in the golden era of the modifieds, and at the park there was a lot of cars, so you had to be pretty decent even to make the feature race.
Right, and now you've been around a long time. You raced yourself. You've seen your son Les race and have a lot of success, whether it's on the Valente Modified Racing Series or Riverside Park Speedway. Where do you see short track racing going? How is it differ from when you raced till today?
Well, I think it's a participation. It was more or less a staple that anybody that is a car enthusiast would put together a car with his buddies, and then they go on a Saturday night, a Saturday Night Warrior type thing, and go racing. Now it's in a modified division anyway. It's not backyard cars that you build anymore. There's very few people that are even capable of doing that, and so you buy a chassis, and it's more money driven. I mean, back in the day, my whole setup was about $10,000, and that was kind of top of the line. I thought it was the car, the truck, the trailer parts, and everything cost me $10,000. Now you can't even freshen a motor for that today.
No, exactly. But let's now talk about Les's son, Alan Hinkley. Of course, your grandson, over the last couple months, been going through some medical issues. Tell us about those medical issues and where we are today.
Well, to preface the remarks, we're much better today than we were even a week ago. Alan had a congenital arachnoid cyst that he was born with. It's only prevalent in about 1% of the population, predominantly in males and men, boys. And he's going to have to live with it the rest of his life. He's had 4 major surgeries, craniotomies, and they had to drain the cyst and put in a valve system to monitor the flow of the fluid down his neck. You know, they put a line down his neck and under the skin, into his chest, abdominal cavity, and he's been kind of the worst case scenario right along. He hasn't responded well, and he kept on having symptoms, and he's been problematic. But he spent 17 days in Hartford Children's, and then a period at home. And just recently, Saturday night, he was released after 2 weeks in Boston's Children's Hospital up there in Boston, which is the top shelf. And yesterday I watched the Red Sox with him, and he was adamant about the game, and he seemed to be like my grandson again. So we're very hopeful now. Hopefully we turned the corner. He's going to have to be monitored, and as he grows, because this line that's inside him now, as he grows, has to be adjusted. They left a little slack in there, but it has to be adjusted, and the hazard will be that line becoming plugged with the proteins of the cerebral fluid that has to drain there. It releases the pressure that was in his head, which was causing, it moved his brain over a little bit, but now everything's okay now, but it moved his brain over a little bit and created pressure, so he had headaches and vision problems. And then it was almost like the valve they put in is, I related to like a carburetor jet. It was like just an orifice that fluid flowed through, and that didn't work. You'd have to go in there surgically to change that all the time. And what they did up at Boston was put in and Hartford was going to do this too, put in an adjustable valve behind his ear that could be adjusted externally with a magnet. And but of course, everything that's complicated like that is susceptible to more failure. So they were trying to not have that, but that's what he needed, and so that we're going to have to keep an eye on him until he's full grown, and then hopefully it won't be as problematic as until adulthood. But he's taught us a whole lesson. He's a trooper. I got to hand it to him.
He's eight.
Going into the operating room last week, that he was happy, and they asked him, "You're real happy, buddy. What's the matter? How come you're going into surgery?" And he said, "That's because I'm going to get fixed and go home."
And of course, Alan, 8 years old, son of Les and Tracy, and so he's definitely in good spirits, and that's all good. And one good thing, he's a Red Sox fan, and the Red Sox have been doing very well.
He knows all about it, and he knows about the losing streak they had, and now the 7-game winning streak, and he knows everything. He's right on top of it. He's passionate about the Red Sox. As a matter of fact, after his first surgery, we got an anonymous card in the mail, and it was signed from Danny and Ben. And I think it's about coming up to see a ball game at either Fenway or the Celtics or whatever. So I'm taking that's either Danny Age and Ben Charrington. So
okay,
and is alive and well, and it's been like 5 generations in my family.
Great. And of course, I'm a big Red Sox fan. Ricky, you a Red Sox fan?
No, I'm a sports fan. I watch all the
Okay.
sports on TV and everything else. Just like I know the Red Sox had a 10-game losing streak. Now they won 7. But I don't follow the Red Sox. I just follow sports.
How about you, Nick?
I'm actually a San Diego Padres fan, oddly enough.
Okay, we'll talk about that later. Anyway.
I'm a sports fan too. I'm a Red Sox lover, but I'm not a Yankee hater. So
No, and there again, I'm not. My wife's a Yankee fan. I do not like the Yankees. Yankees are a good ball team, and you're only as good as your last game. And of course, let's go back to last year. They won the championship. They had a good year. This season, okay. And but anyways, let's talk about the fundraiser that's coming up this Sunday, June 7th. I'm sorry, Saturday, June 7th. That's going to be at Sonny's Place, 349 Main Street in Somers, Connecticut. Let's talk about everything that's going to go on. Let's talk about the people that have already contributed, and let's take it from there, Les.
okay, it's been very heartwarming and overwhelming, the people that have stepped up and supported us and supported Alan. Sonny's Place is a family entertainment center. It's got like go-karts and a rock climbing wall and a restaurant and miniature golf and all those things that you would think of an entertainment center there for the pavilion and outdoor grounds, batting cages, etc. And that's where it's going to be hosted, and that's on 190. Main Street Summers is actually Route 190. It's about halfway between Stafford Motor Speedway and Enfield, Connecticut on 190. It's going to be 4 to 8, and we're looking forward to maybe even having Alan come. If he keeps on looking as good as he did yesterday, that would be heartwarming for me. And it's humbling to see the generosity of both the racing community, family and friends, and it's humbling to see that, but also heartwarming that my son predominantly now, and hopefully I had something to do with that back in the day, that we treated people like we wanted to be treated, and so we gained that respect. So it's actually heartwarming and gratifying that we're thought of in that situation. Even Wayne Darling down there in Seekonk, he's got that another family entertainment center down there near Seekonk. On his own, he is going to put on a benefit the same day on Saturday when the MRS is racing Seekonk, and he's opening up the go-kart track there and inviting the drivers that are going to be racing to race with the general public, and he's going to donate the proceeds. So I hear on the internet, I haven't spoken to him myself personally, for less than Alan. So it's just overwhelming. People from Wall Stadium, we've gone down there, raced in the Turkey Derby, and love it down there. It's a fast race car, kind of high banked, and kind of reminds us of Riverside. It's a little faster than Riverside, but the same pedal to the metal type environment. So we've had a lot of support from people that we've met through the years racing, and we're very thankful for it.
And go ahead, Rick, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I was just going to say, just add on to what he was saying about humbling with all the community and stuff, and I've said this a bunch of times on the radio before, and I don't get tired of saying it, but racing is different than most other sports. When you're in the pits, everybody is family with everybody else. You help out. It's the only sport that you help your competitor to fix his car to go out there and race against.
Right.
And it's one of them things where, if somebody needs to help you, they're all there to support you. And I've said it a bunch of times, it's the only sport like that at all.
Les, if people want to make a donation, how can they go about doing that?
Well, they can go on to the website that we have, and that's set up so you can accept a donation. It's www.gofundme.com/ and it's a bunch of numbers after that. I don't have it right in front of me. Do you have it there, Gary?
Yes, it's FKGAW, so that's www.gofundme.com/8 Frank, Karen, Gary, Alan, William.
That sounds correct, yes.
And they can go there, make a donation. And once again, let's get back to the thing that's going to take place this weekend, June 7th, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., Sonny's Place, 349 Main Street in Somers, Connecticut. Food and drinks, music, dancing, a great time. And of course, for tickets, you can call Christy. And is there a special website where people, all this information that I have right here, that people can go and see, Les?
Yes, that website that we've just spoken of with the long website GoFundMe has write-ups and stuff like that there, and they can see what's going on that. And there's other places that have Facebook and like that have made mention of it.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to thank you for coming on. I know you and I had spoken back a few weeks ago, and I did want to invite you on, to talk about how things were progressing with Alan. Once again, he's 8 years old. Of course, Les Hinkley and his wife Tracy have been certainly going through a lot over the last couple of months, and your support certainly would be appreciated, whether you go and you donate or you come on out to this weekend over at Sonny's Place. Once again, June 7th, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., Sonny's Place, 349 Main Street in Somers, Connecticut. And you can also go to the website that they have as well. You heard Les just mention Seacon Grand Prix owner Wayne Darlin has announced that he's going to open the facility on Saturday, June 7th at 9 a.m. and will donate all money taken in between 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. To the Hinkley family. And so definitely a lot of people coming out. Once again, Les, thank you for your time, and wish everyone well, and we'll talk to you soon.
And Kara, that's my daughter, and another man's name, Stephen, that's my other son. And people can contact them, and they'll give them the updates. So it's been a pleasure, Gary, and very helpful. And I want to personally thank everybody that's been there for us. It was a time when we needed moral support, and the racing community gave it to us.
Okay. Once again, wish everyone well. Talk to you soon. Thank you, Les. You're welcome. Les Hinkley Sr. joining us tonight on this edition of Speedway Line Report Radio. We're going to be all set. We're going to get our next guest on the line. He won Saturday night at Waterford Speedboat in the SK Modifieds. Craig Lutz. We're going to spend a few minutes with him next.
Market for a new Acura? There's only one place to go. Shaler Acura in Manchester. Shaler is Connecticut's first.
Thank you again. You're welcome.
Shaler offers the area's best selection of new and pre-owned Acuras. Shaler Acura also offers extended hours for parts and service. Open until 8 o'clock Monday
but it won't eat this one.
until 4 o'clock
Okay, I'm doing it for me. I need stickers too. There.
345 Center Street, Manchester.
Oh, I'm going to drop one off to him. I'm going to give one to Ricky. Could you put one on your car, Speedway Line Report Radio? Thank you.
Good, just go in the side door, all.
We may go a couple minutes over.
And large is, it'll say large on the box.
But I'll have
All
you answer
large.
myself.
Okay, just take whatever you want. Take some Tommy, Bo, whatever. Just leave them in it.
Okay.
Just throw them inside.
Thanks, guys. Have a good
Thank
one.
you.
See you later.
Have a good one.
Save on your monthly payments with low finance rates. Nowhere else but Shaler Acura, 345 Center Street.
What did you do, Grace?
Huh?
What did you do?
What?
I don't know.
Shaler Acura, Manchester.
Just trying to make you think.
Huh?
All right.
I was being polite.
Speedway Line Report.
Keep everything on while you go and get it.
Acura of Manchester, Connecticut.
Your car, your choice. The Auto Body Association of Connecticut.
Welcome back, everyone. A couple of minutes left. We're going to get our next guest on the line here. We're probably going to go over just a few minutes after 7:30. Wanted to spend some time with Les Hinkley Sr. in regards to everything going on with his grandson. Once again, if you can work things out and you can get out to Sonny's Place this coming weekend, June 7th, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Sonny's Place, once again, they're located at 349 Main Street in Somers. And once again, for tickets, you can call Christy, Kara, Steve, or Sarah. You can find them on Facebook for the benefit for Alan Hinkley. Once again, some positive news. Things are coming along, and hopefully things will continue to go along great for the Hinkley family. Certainly a great family, no question about that. And of course, Les, we all know the success that he's had behind race cars, whether when he ran over at the Riverside Park Speedway in the Pro Stock division, or even an open wheel modified on the Volante Modified Racing Series. So once again, it's about 7:25, and once again we're going to spend a little time with Craig Lutz, who won this past weekend at Waterford Speedboat. And you know, anytime a first-time winner, Ricky, can get the victory lane, and you beat the best, like Keith Rocco and all the rest that race over at Waterford Speedboat and the SK Modifieds.
Yeah, no, it was definitely one of them times when you get the win and you know you beat the right guys, because the best guy at the track was in second place. So we did what he had to do and did it right.
Okay. So our next guest is all set to go. Craig Lutz now joins us. Craig, good evening. Craig, are you on there, Craig? Hey, Craig, how are you tonight? Yeah, good. We apologize running a little bit late tonight. But first of all, congratulations on your victory this past Saturday at Waterford Speed Bowl. Take us through your night.
Thank you. Yeah, it started off rough. We got to the track and there was mechanical problems with the car, so we actually missed all 3 rounds of practice the time that we got the car ready. And then we started our heat race, won our heat race, and then that brought us to start third in the feature. And then started third, ran with Diego for a while, and then Teddy got by me. And then on the restart, Teddy got into Diego, and they both went to the back. Then I took over the lead, and me and Rocco battled it out to the end.
And what I think is special about this victory, of course, your first ever career win in an SK Modified, but let's go back to the previous week at Waterford on that Saturday night when your car got destroyed. Take us from there, getting that car back to the racetrack and to victory lane.
Oh, it was just tons of work. We brought the car home Saturday. The time we got home was Sunday morning. Then woke up, stripped the car, and then I brought it up to Matt and Tony Hirschman in Pennsylvania Sunday night. And then they called Wednesday. I picked up the car Wednesday night. Then from there on, we were just thrashing to get the car ready to make it back to the track for Saturday.
Yeah, I know what kind of car it is, especially since you just said that, but I mean, we like to put it out there, you know, for all the sponsors and for the cars, but what type of car do you run at the Waterford Speed Bowl?
I race a Troyer Modified.
And what type of motor do you have? Whose motor? Okay, and who are some of the sponsors that you have on your car?
Actually, we have no sponsors. It was just my parents for now, which is pretty tough on them, so especially after last week. Luckily, we were able to put the car back together.
And once again, yeah, going back to the previous week, the car destroyed there in a wreck. And now you haul all the way up from Miller Place, New York, and you were a big fan of Mike Iwanitzko, right?
Yes, Mikey was one of my favorite drivers to watch.
And of course, that's why you have the number 36 on your car, because of course that was the Iwanitzko family number, car number 36.
Yes, also that's what my dad raced when he raced charger cars out at Riverhead Raceway.
Now, has Mike ever come up to see a race?
No, I don't think so. I've seen him at one of my friend's race shops, and I talked to him for a little bit, but yeah, he hasn't made it out to one of the tracks.
Okay. And so what was that feeling like coming off turn number 4 and getting the checkered flag? And as I mentioned to Ricky, of course, you know, when you beat the best of the best at the bowl, you've done something right.
I was just so excited coming off of turn 4. You just work so hard. You spend so much money to do that, to win a race and to be in victory lane and celebrate with your crew and everything. It was a dream come true.
Now let me ask you, you got Riverhead in your backyard. Of course, they run open wheel modifieds there. You have an SK modified, but what's the reason you make the trip up from Miller Place, New York every Saturday?
Honestly, I only raced at Riverhead once in my dad's Charger car. And the time I started racing cars, I started when I was 14, and at that time you weren't allowed to race Riverhead until you were 16, so we traveled up the Mountain Speedway in Pennsylvania for 2 years until I got seat time, and then we won a championship there. Then we decided we had to move up to try to get seen somehow and maybe land a sponsor. And we bought a modified and took off from there.
So how long have you been racing at the Waterford Speed Bowl?
This is going to be my second full year. Last was my first full year, and then I did about 8 races in 2011.
And where did you end up in the points last year?
Third.
That's good for your first season, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, definitely. We started off good, and then it was a little shaky, but finish strong.
Craig, we're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with you about your victory, and we'll take it from there. You're listening to Speedway Line Report on WATR, 1320 AM. We'll be back right after this.
To Shaler Acura and test drive the all-new redesigned RDX.
Just so I can get that final
built for the size of your life. The
uh,
all-new RDX
part of the show.
presents a new kind of luxury that values the resourceful. An engine that's powerful yet efficient.
I mean, I think there's still more time on it.
Yeah, but that's only a 90-minute take.
Yeah, but you start at 5 after, you got like.
Well, yeah, but I think we started at like maybe about 3.
Yeah, but
Oh, okay.
So it gets some of the Fox News and.
I mean, but of course we got YouTube, man.
Shaler Acura, 345 Center Street, Manchester. Exit 60 off I-84.
Shaler Acura in Manchester has a long-standing commitment to quality and reliability. It's that commitment that makes finest certified.
Nick did a good interview.
Shaler so satisfying. Every certified Acura from Shaler goes through a 150-point inspection and comes with a 7-year or 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Plus, save on your monthly payments with low finance rates. Nowhere else but Shaler Acura, 345 Center Street, Manchester. Call 860-647-7077 or visit them on the web at ShalerAcura.com. Shaler Acura, Manchester.
I'll ask.
There we go.
Welcome back to the Speedway Line Report, presented to you by Shaler.
Your car, your choice. The Auto Body Association of Connecticut.
A little bit of overtime here on Speedway Line Report Radio. Very busy show tonight. This show is also being brought to you by J.M. Montesano Auto Body. They are specialists when it comes to auto collision. All work is guaranteed. Located at 390 Lombard Street in New Haven, Connecticut. You can also give them a call at 203-865-1389. 865-1389 for J.M. Montesano Auto Body Works. Once again, they are specialists in auto collision. So if you live in and around the New Haven area and your car or truck has been in a fender bender, well, then stop over and see the good folks at J.M. Montesano Auto Body Works. Once again, located at 390 Lombard Street in New Haven, Connecticut. Gary Danko right alongside with Rocket Rick Rotundo from R&R Fabrication. Our fourth guest of the evening, Craig Lutz, put his car into the winner's circle this past Saturday night at the Waterford Speed Bowl. But it wasn't an easy week for Craig and the team as their car got wrecked earlier in the week, actually the Saturday before at Waterford Speed Bowl. And he was explaining, Ricky, how bad the race car was, and of course there were some other issues that went on as well.
Yeah, Craig, we just wanted to touch base on the issue with the tethers. Now, did your car not have tethers on, or did the tethers break when you got into the accident?
There was no tethers on the car.
Did you start off the season like that, or was it just one of them things that you forgot to put it back on when you took the car apart?
We started the season off that way.
Okay, we were just, because curious to see how it was going, because you hear all these different things about it, so we just want to get it out in the open, what it was. And I'm assuming that you had the tethers on the car for this past week?
Yeah, we put them on the car. It was a bad situation. Luckily no one got hurt, and we'll move forward from there.
Absolutely, and move forward, you did. Working hard, things pay off when you work hard, and as I mentioned, you and the team worked hard and got the car back to the racetrack and got the victory lane. And so what was the ride going back to Miller Place, New York?
Definitely one of the better rides because you feel so accomplished. You're running against the best there, and to come home with the win is just outstanding.
Okay, and what are some of the other plans for you in 2014? Of course, Waterford Speed Bowl Saturday nights. Will you think you'll branch out anywhere else?
As of right now, there's nothing else lined up. I mean, if the right opportunity comes up, maybe try to put together a tour car to run somewhere or something, but that opportunity hasn't came up yet.
Okay. Well, Craig, I want to thank you for being a part of Speedway Line Report Radio. We apologize for running a little bit tight on our schedule tonight, and but we definitely wanted to have you on the show to congratulate you on the victory. Certainly well deserved considering everything that you and the team have gone through. From the previous week, and who knows, maybe that 36 car will get back into the winner's circle this come Saturday night.
Yep, the first one's usually the hardest one to get. They kind of come quicker after that.
Sure hope so.
Okay, thank you again. Craig, you're welcome. Craig Lutz joining us tonight on this edition of Speedway Line Report Radio. Speedway Line Report Radio is presented to you by Shaler Acura of Manchester, Connecticut, and also being brought to you by Embroidery Works, J.O. Montesano Auto Body, Jim's Lawn Care Service, Grotto Restaurant.
And your car, your choice, the Auto Body Association of Connecticut.
Big thank you to all of my guests tonight. Of course, Robert Baggett, you too, will have that up. We appreciate everything he does. Tom Ormsby, of course, Rocker Rick Rotundo, my co-host, of course, Tom Graves. I'm Gary Danko. We'll talk to you next Monday night at 6 o'clock p.m. We hope that you'll join us then.
Preceding has been a GMD production. Don't forget
That
to
was
listen to
not the
Gary
answer
next
that
Monday
people
night for
wanted
more
to hear.
auto racing.